Right. This is a video for those just first getting the boards who want to know about the boards, and the most common question is which board works with what. It's you've got to get that thought out of your head. It's basically all of them, as you can see here, is one board. They're all the same. Every one of them, and it is, you haven't got to overcomplicate it. It's a case of which board fits that cut, you know. You know, the reason there's a many of them, because look at all the different scenarios and cuts you come across in the game. But so anyway, it's just one board, one system, but we're going to do some straight lay just to explain and hopefully get it into, you know, and make it a little bit more clearer as to how they work and what they're based on. So anyway, so let's move this one back. And we shall start at the beginning. Now, the other thing you get confused with in that lot is it's back marking, you know, is what a lot of them like to familiarise it with, and, but back marking is where you use the tile that you're working with as the marker, and you know, and you'll cut the one below, the one behind it. So if I was getting this one, I'll be cutting that one. And can we see that? Sorry. You know, you'll be cutting that one and then swapping them over. Let's get this in a better position. Now that would be marking, then you'd move the plank around and that lot to get your other marks. Now, how I was taught was, you know, doing this sort of kind of back marking is okay, but if you're working with long planks, you're scribing all the way back here for a wall for your shot that's up there. So how we used to do it is, you know, you'd get your tile, you'd put one on the end there, put another one up behind it, then you put your plank in, wouldn't you? And you'd use, well, you'd have it roughed in, sorry. And then basically you'd use the tile that you're fitting to scribe that in, and it's like basically the short scribe. So, you know, so let's put it again. Put one on the end. Drop that back. So instead of scribing all the way back there, you're now scribing up to the wall. So if there are any discrepancies, you can get them that way and do your cut. You know, and you're going to get your cuts in there perfectly neat way. But how the Mawboards work is exactly basically that. It's always a short scribe, and you're basically just making everything, say, you know, regardless of what you're fitting, to the size of the templates that come with it, is the drop back sort of thing. So a lot of old school boys know this. But what the Mawboards would do instead, you know, I mean, with this method, you are still balancing one tile on top of another tile, or, you know, doesn't matter which method you use in that lot, you're always having to balance one tile on top of another tile, and that's what can cause the error. So in this case, and the reason why there's different boards, you know, for this cut, I'm not going to use a standard board. I'm going to use my tube board, which is, you know, 6 inches. Okay, so in theory, that's basically me putting my tile on there and putting another one up and getting my starting point. So from that point, and it's the same with every single tile, you know, you're going to rough them in. Put it on the board. Now, instead of balancing anything on, you're really just, you know, locking it. Leaves your hands free, makes it easier. Template up on the wall, much closer to doing scribes. Catch any ins and outs. But what they also do, they also give it just that little bit more that you'd, you know, to achieve compression fit. Whereas you'd have to, you know, butt the tile up to it and cut into the waist side if you weren't. But every one of them just drops in perfectly like that all the time, you know. So I'll show you again quickly on this one. So your board locks in place. And now you rough your tile in. Template. Now if this was an 18 or a bigger tile, then I'll be using the other boards and things like that. And when you're working on the 45, that's where, you know, you could get presented with all these different cuts that you know, need a board for. But don't just use them on the 45, you know, you can, it does make fitting straight leg a lot easier. So we'll move round. We'll do one to show them how they achieve these sort of cuts. You know, you've got angles there, a little cut out. So, you know, it's not overly complicated, but it's enough to show you what I need to show you. So for this one, you're going to be coming at the side. You don't want to be dropping that way because you're not going to get your plank in. So this is where you're going to use, you know, a combination of your boards. You know, I want to start with a lock one because I want the plank to land in the same place. So when I'm doing my markings, I'm going to get them right. Now I'm going to whack a big old standard in there. You know, I've used my new 9-inch board, or if you've just got basic set one. You haven't got a lock board either, but anyway. So this can now spread them out. You know, you can put as many as you like down, can't you? Anyway, once you've got them all in place, see now, she's locked in, giving me both hands free to start making my marks using jet square and my pipe finder, which I am going to be making more videos on because they are proving to be awesome. Anyway, jet square goes on, lips on, you know, and it keeps that flush with there, so you haven't got a big old angle that you're going to be putting on it. So, and this is where you're going to mark your straights. Oops. And then, anyway, so standard template. There you've got your marks there. Looking for more pipe finder. You know, these ones like your curve. I've actually been trying this one out at the moment. With that little cut out there. You know, I mean, it's in theory work in progress, but And that's going to give me my curve. It's a bit tight on the side there. But I can see my biro line there, so you always have to do little adjustments, don't you, about. I'm really fussed about that. Okay, so now this one. So you've got a funny angle going off at the side there. But again, once you start getting used to your head round how the boards work, so in this case you're just going to be doing the chewy one out again. Is that big enough? No. So you don't have to work out the angle or whatever, you just get it on the board there. Get your tight shoulder. You know, and you can just put your pipe finder up the edge. Make a little stabby mark. Then once you've done that, then you just get your smaller template, put it on there. You see the mark there needs to come up a little bit. So we're going to move her up a bit. Let's cut a bit more off there. You need a cheap one for that. So, you know, you're just going to slide you up till it hits your mark there. It doesn't matter what angle the wall's at. Okay, we've got this one. Get the other board out. Now, I've mentioned this before, but this is back in ages ago. Remember when we first got the boards, we marked them. Just put random lines down and as references. You can do it with the back of your concave or your little scribing pen. But what I've done on this one is that I've got my 45 template. Okay. And I've marked both sides. Oops. So I've got the two marks there, but I'll just show you how I've done that. Either with a pin, or you can use the concave, can't you? And you're going to see why in a minute. So, got your plank. You can overcut it, in you. Now, what you do, scribe your angle side in. Okay, now put it back on there, slide it up, and with a pen, you want to make your marks where you've done your scribe for that. See? Now all you've got to do is move this mark up to that one. Rough it in a bit, sorry. So, let's put her back in and set her up again. So we're in, put her up against that, make your two marks, slide one up to the other. You know, and you're going to start getting these in. So now, that one don't fit, but the 9" does. Oh, does it or not? Adjust. Anyway, so if it didn't, go on. I'll have to do it in a moment. Sorry, we're at that point where we can't really waste them. So, oops. Okay. That's that. So you can utilise the Mawboards with straight lathe. Yeah. Okay.